Just what on earth does the BBC think it is? Does it think it still holds a place in the hearts of the British people? Does it think the British people depend on it for the news and for facts? Does it think it's the oracle of all information? Of course it isn't. The BBC is none of those things. It is a biased, bureaucratic organisation that has told lies and harboured perverts in its midst. Now, executives at the BBC have sent emails to all staff telling them not to talk about and spread gossip about Huw Edwards. And if any one of their staff is found talking about him, they will come down hard on them, because they think people doing this will be harming the reputation of the BBC. Well, I think the only harm ever done to the BBC is by the BBC itself. And this is exactly how and why Jimmy Savile got away with doing what he did for many, many years. BBC employees, BBC stars who knew about Jimmy Savile and what he was up to, they were slapped down and sacked by the BBC. Take Johnny Rotten out of the Sex Pistols, for example. He blurted out during an interview, I think it was in the early 80s or late 70s, that he knew what Jimmy Savile was up to, and yet the BBC told him to keep quiet. And this email has just the same parallels as what happened back then. Now, various other allegations about Huw Edwards have come from BBC staff members. So by issuing emails like this, the BBC is effectively shutting them down and probably stopping others from coming forward. And they're doing this because, unbelievably, there are people out there who want to see Huw Edwards back on the BBC presenting the news. Now, I'm not a fan of Prince Andrew whatsoever, but these are the same people who wanted Prince Andrew jailed for what he allegedly did, and yet have sympathy with Huw Edwards for doing exactly the same thing. And there are already heavy rumours on social media that he will be back on our screens, well, not on mine, that's for sure, once he's finished his treatment in a mental health hospital. And if that's true, then that's got to be the quickest mental health crisis episode ever. So basically it gets found out, pulls the mental health card, but then gets a whiff that the left-wing biased mainstream media and woke social media users want him back on our screens suddenly, or he'll be right soon. It's just a scratch. Now, after this episode, I was of the mind that leave the BBC alone and just make it a private organisation instead. Make it self-funding via advertisements, or make it a subscription service. But now, I think the BBC needs to be eradicated from existence. The BBC is too toxic, it's too biased, and it attracts the kind of people that like to get away with stuff, and know even if they are found out that they will still get away with stuff. Now, personally, I don't think we will see him back at the BBC soon, if ever, because if these allegations are true, and the BBC confirmed his phone number, by the way, when shown text messages he sent and received by the Sun newspaper, then he would have to have balls of steel and a bigger front than Brighton Pier to be back on our TV screens presenting the news. How the hell could he look the people in the eye after doing that? I don't know. And also, it's been revealed that BBC journalists were already investigating him before the Sun allegations came out, which confirms to me, as I said in previous videos, this goes way deeper. And the fact there are people out there who want to see this guy back doing what he did, it's just, I don't know, baffling. It says more about them, really, and what they are comfortable with, which is rather telling if you ask me. And there we go, that's my video. I hope you like. Please let me know what you think in the comments, and until the next time, have a great day, look after yourselves, and Roger Trout.